Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chloe. If you are new here, of course, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and I'd love to have you stick around. But today I'm going to be talking about sorority recruitment. That is a whole week in itself, but I thought that I would sit down today and talk to you about it because I watched a lot of videos on YouTube before I rushed and it helped me a lot, and I felt like I had a lot of tips that may help you as well, and just my experience as a whole, because my experience was not perfect and a lot of things happened, but I'm really thankful for it and wanted to talk to you about it today. So let's just get started. I am a freshman here at Texas Christian University and I rushed in the fall of 2019. My rush started on a Sunday and then ended on a Sunday with bid day. It's a week-long process, and if you want to see me do like a video going in depth with what I wore, how it worked every single day, I would love to do that. So let me know down below in the comments if you would like me to do that video. I did write some notes on my phone and I'm going to share all of my handy dandy advice that I have right now today. Oh, I can stand my phone up. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is advice and just things that I think are important for you guys to know. So the first tip of advice that I have is to be yourself, because being yourself is important no matter if it's in recruitment, every single day in life, or just in the future. I think that sometimes girls feel like they have to be a different way or act a certain way to get into a sorority, but honestly, you shouldn't be in that sorority if you feel like you can't authentically be yourself, because being yourself is amazing. I know that that is easier said than done, because there is times where I'm like, what am I saying? There was things in recruitment I was like, what just like came out of your mouth? But I was being authentically myself, and they can see that and they appreciate it. And they can also tell if you're being fake. So don't be fake no matter what it is. Just be yourself, because being yourself is cool and it's awesome. And you are you and you're not anybody else, and they want to be talking to you. And believe it or not, something that I learned after sorority recruitment is like right now we are working on recruitment for this upcoming fall. And after you like go through all of your stuff, all we're looking forward to is meeting you guys and talking to you guys and just learning about you. So it's important, because when I'm recruiting this upcoming year, I of course want to get to know you and learn about all the things that you love in life. And that's something that's important to me, because I love talking to people. Clearly, I like to talk a lot, but just be yourself, because people really, really love when people are themselves. So yeah, be yourself, because you are awesome, and never forget that. My second tip of advice is do not go into rush thinking that you want to have this specific house or that specific house, or you don't want to go to this specific house, because honestly, every sorority is amazing, and wherever you feel like you should be is where you should be. And don't let people influence you on that or feel like I'm not good enough or anything, because you are, and you are amazing, and you should show that to them and show why you want to be there and what makes you love their philanthropy or whatever it is. And I feel like I know a lot of people that went into it being like, oh, I really want this house, but then they're like, oh my gosh, I really want this house, and then they ended up being that house. And I went into it having no clue where I wanted to be. I had no idea. No one in my family ever rushed or was in a sorority, and no one was in a frat either. So this was all new to me. I did so much research on it. I looked up everything online I could possible. I watched every single YouTube video on the planet about rush, because I had no idea what to expect. And no matter how much I can explain it, honestly, it's just something that you experience and you're like, wow, that is something. But it's a very long week, I will say that. I'm not going to say it's always rainbows and sunshine, because it wasn't for me. I really felt like that was the week that for the first time I had to think a lot about where I wanted to be for the next 4 years. It's a decision and a commitment that you're making for 4 years, no matter where you end up, or even if you don't get in a house. I have a lot of friends who just ended up dropping out of it because they just didn't feel like they were ready for it and wanted to next year, and that's okay too. Don't feel like you have to be in a sorority, because I know so many people who are not, and they love that too, and are gonna rush their sophomore year. And they also have like continuous open bidding. So basically what that is like throughout the fall and spring, certain sororities will like rush and you can meet them, and there's always going to be opportunities for it. So don't feel discouraged if it doesn't work out, because it always can. But back to what I was saying, just don't have like an expectation, I guess, that you're gonna like get into a house or not gonna get into a house. Just go into it open-minded, because I did it and it made my experience a lot better than going into it with a house in mind, just because I felt like I was less stressed out and I really got to know the houses and fall in love with houses that I genuinely loved. And I just think that overall that's a good way to go through life, is just kind of not expecting anything and then finding where you belong. That makes sense? I don't know. I feel like it does. But another thing going with that is have an open mind. Being open-minded is really important throughout this process, because you're cutting sororities are cutting you, and vice versa. And sometimes you will open up your little sheet that they give you in the morning and be shocked that someone dropped you. And like that happened to me, and I was like, really? No. And that happened to me. There's houses that dropped me and I was confused, but I just kept an open mind and I kept going through the process, and it really worked out for me. And houses will know if you belong somewhere else, and they can tell, and that doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them after the process. I'm friends with a lot of people that I talked to during Rush, and I just tried to think of it as you're talking to your friend, not really someone that's recruiting you, because it made it easier for me for some reason. I was like, okay, these girls are my friends. Even though I don't know them, I'm going to go in and talk to them like one of my friends. And I had great conversations. And I'm just like a really conversative person. Does that make sense? I like to talk. I talk a lot. I said that earlier, but I just like to talk. So just have an open mind, because at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. To talk about that, they will tell you maybe 100+ times that everything happens for a reason, and it really truly does. Whether you can see it or not, where you end up is where you're supposed to be. And I think that at the end of it, I really saw that. I was like, okay, like this really happened for this reason. And I loved the house that I'm in towards the middle of recruitment. I really was like, this is where I belong. These are the girls that I see myself with. And that's just important to have that mentality, and just knowing that even if the whole day wasn't perfect and every conversation you had wasn't perfect, because conversations are hard. Sometimes you're talking to girls for 30+ minutes and you have to keep on having a conversation. And it's not the same girl. They like switch out girls, but you have to think of things and ask them questions too, because I asked a lot of questions during Rush, because it's kind of like a two-way street. If you want to know something, just ask them how their day is, because I know that when I'm going through Rush, I'm really going to appreciate someone being like, hey, how's your day going? How are you? How's like life? I don't know. I think that'll be nice if someone asks me that. But just think about the other person too, because I know that I'm going to be working really hard and I want to find a little through it. So that's kind of cool. It's so weird being on the other side. But that's what I would say, is just trust it, because everything's going to work out no matter what. This is my next tip. And it's very important, because no matter how hard you try not to hear it, you still hear it. But there will be girls in your lines talking really bad about sororities on campus and why you shouldn't be in this sorority and why you shouldn't be in that sorority, and just making up rumors. And one, it could be because they want to be in that sorority and they're trying to tell you not to be in it because they think if you drop it, then they have a better chance, or just because they're just not nice people and they just want to talk badly. But two reasons why you shouldn't listen is, one, because if you get into that conversation and start talking badly about sororities and a Rho Gamma hears that, you will be cut from the process, most likely. And it's just not good to talk bad about other sororities because you never know who's around you. You never know if the girl standing next to you loves the sorority that you were talking about and you totally just crushed her dreams. And she's like, do I not go into that sorority now because this girl said that blah, 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 blah. And I heard girls saying it, and it does get in your head 100%, but I just had to block it out and have my own opinion because the week is really emotionally draining. And even though I had some good times and I met people and I loved going to the houses and hearing the chants and like learning about everyone's philanthropy, it is exhausting emotionally, physically. You're walking, especially for me in Texas, it was like 100+ degrees outside, and you're walking from house to house and talking to people and trying to drink water and fix your makeup and fix everything that's wrong with your outfit and whatever. And so it's really stressful. And even though, yeah, I had fun, like it was stressful and hard, but don't get discouraged by me saying that because out of all of that, it's only a week of your life, and there's so many weeks in your life. And tomorrow, it's all just 1 week, and it goes by pretty quickly. So it's really worth it, even though it was emotionally hard at some points in time. So don't listen to other girls because girls can sometimes be mean, and it's just not good. It's not good for your mind. Just block it out. Be like, no, bye, bad bees, go away. Just go away. Just block it out. That's my advice. My advice. This is very important, and I was told this by my rogue gamma, but look at the girls around you. So as the days go by and by, girls get cut more and more, and the girls that you're standing in line with are most likely going to be your sisters. And you need to see if you can see yourself being friends with them and talking with them and being sisters with them, because that's your PC. That is the group that you're going to be spending the most amount of time with. And I have met some older girls that are juniors and seniors and sophomores and all of that, but really the most time that I spend is with my pledge class. So that's what your PC is, pledge class. And I was sitting there the last couple days and really looking at the girls. Okay, can I be friends with them? Do they seem like they're my type of people? And all of that, because it's not just the sorority, it's also the girls you have to spend the next 4 years of your life with. And I really just took that into account. It wasn't like a huge deciding factor for me at all whatsoever. I am a Delta Gamma here, and I really wanted to be a DG because of their philanthropy, and I really connected with their philanthropy, and that's what I wanted most of all, is some connection with the work that I'm going to be doing, because we do service projects throughout the year and every single sorority does. So their philanthropy is very, very important to them, and I just wanted to be able to be an advocate and just just really believe in what I was talking about and really what I was feeling. And that is where I found it in Delta Gamma. And that was the main factor why I chose it. It wasn't really because of like other outsiding factors. It just was at the end of the day, like, where do I feel like I fit in the most, and where do I feel like every single time I walk in the house, I feel at home. And that was Delta Gamma. But I would say I just like looked around. I was like, okay, like that girl looks nice, and I could see her being my sister and being friends and all of that. Just look at it. Don't pay too much attention to it, but definitely take that into consideration. I cannot stress this enough, but every single house, no matter where you go to school, they work so hard for recruitment. And I knew that kind of before coming into the recruitment process, but I've really started to learn about it since being a sorority, and we're starting all of our recruitment stuff. But they work really, really hard to talk to you. And if you don't love a house, just be respectful and have respectful conversations, and always be nice, because you never know like who the person is that you're talking to or how their day is going, and they're stressed out because they want to make their sorority look good, and they want you to love their sorority as much as they do. So always just be respectful and nice, and just be happy, because you never know how your conversation can change. Maybe you'll go in thinking, okay, I don't really like this house, like I don't want to be here, and then come out of that round and you talk to a couple girls and be like, oh my gosh, I love this house, I want to be whatever the house is, and you may fall in love just by one conversation. Just because you talk to one person, you may not feel like you have like this big connection. I promise you, you're gonna meet so many girls throughout it, and you're gonna love them and be like, oh my gosh, I could see myself here or here or here or here or here. But you just have to give it a chance. You have to give it a chance and just go with the flow, because that's just how I went through it, and it worked out for me. So it can work out for you too. Pref day is one of the biggest deciding days because it's when you have your last 2 houses. That's how it is at TCU. I think that's how it is at most schools, but I'm not 100% sure. But you'll usually have 2 houses that you get back. In between those 2, you have to decide what one you want to be in. And I really went into it with an open mind because, one, my schedule is not the best. I had a house in the morning, and then I had a house at night. I had the last house of the night and I think like the second house of the day, and I had to sit in Blue 2, which is the King Family Commons here on TCU's campus, all day long. I did not have my phone because during recruitment they didn't let us have our phones. I know girls brought their phones, but honestly, for me, if they found you with your phone, they could kick you out of the whole process. And I just didn't want to take the chance because I only wanted to go through it once. And I didn't want to get kicked out because I had my phone. And that was just how I was. I know that some people don't feel that way, but I think that it really helped me through the process because I was able to think and not have outside influences. And that's honestly really why they do it, is because they want you to make your own decision. At times I really wanted to call my mom because I thought I was going to have a mental breakdown because it was just hard. It was emotionally taxing, and I felt like at times, oh my gosh, I need to call my mama. But I talked to my road gammas, and that is why they are there, is for those moments, and they really help you through it. But prep day was one of the longest days ever, I think. And I really was able to just figure out what I wanted. And that is the day where you have to picture yourself in that sorority. And when you walk in, just basically have a good conversation. And if that is it for you, then tell them, this is where I want to be. I want to be this. I want to be that. And that is how I felt. I actually cried on pref. I don't know if it was because it was so emotional or if it was because I was so tired, but it was just a way to really solidify where I felt like I belonged, and our whole like ceremony and everything was just really, really meaningful to me, and it meant a lot, and I felt like that is where I wanted to be. I actually suicided, so that means that you only choose one house, and the reason why I did that was because I felt like it wasn't fair if I put 2 houses down and took a spot from another girl. You don't have to do this. Totally up to you. I am not telling you to do this at all, but it's just what I did, because even though I really had great conversations in the other house, and I actually talked to a few girls that I talked to during recruitment now, and a couple of them are studying abroad, so when they come back I'm going to have lunch with them and catch up. But I felt like it wasn't fair. Like I just felt like I was taking somebody's spot away, because if you do put down 2 houses, so usually after pref night, you'll go back and you'll put your first choice and your second choice, and then you leave. And for me, I just felt like even though I would have enjoyed being in the second house, it wasn't where I belonged, and I didn't want to take somebody's spot at the end of the day that could have really, really wanted to be in that house. And I just decided to suicide, so I only put 1 house on the bid card, and they don't see that. So my sorority did not see that I suicided. They had no idea. They don't know if you suicided or not. So I just did it because I felt like that was the right decision, and I prayed about it, and I really just took the time to think about it. And they will tell you, are you sure you want to do this? You have to sign something and all of this stuff. But I just felt like that was where my home was. So I decided to suicide, and that is a bittersweet thing, I will say, just because when I opened my bid card, I knew what sorority I was going to be in, whereas other girls who don't, they're like super shocked, and it's just, I think like you're more surprised but I knew, and I was so happy. Like, I knew, because they like will call you if you didn't get into the sorority, and they'll tell you, okay, like they'll say like, I'm so sorry, like you didn't get a house. Sorry, I hadn't. But they will basically tell you that you didn't get the house that you wanted. And so I just knew going to bid day I had Delta Gamma, and I was over the moon excited, but I definitely felt like, I don't know, I like took some excitement out of it. I feel like that's coming out wrong, but it was still fun, but I wasn't shocked. Does that make sense? Yeah. But it's so fun. Bid day is such a great day, and you're just gonna meet all these people, and they put me with like an anchor mate. So each sorority has different things that they call it, but I had someone who I had for a couple weeks, and that's how you find your big, and like that's a whole other process. But I really enjoyed the process as a whole, and I met a lot of friends through it, and I have a lot of friends in different sororities now because of Rush, and having conversations around the people that you stand in line with are really, really important. They do give you a water bottle, a bag, and like a pamphlet thing that you can write notes down in. I took a lot of notes in my pamphlet. I still have it actually, and it's kind of funny to look back at it and be like, oh, this is how I felt about this house. But why is my face itchy? My face is itching so bad. Overall, I would say that going through recruitment, it may be really hard and things may be tough, and I totally get it because I was in your same position. It was not easy for me, but I trusted the process and I just let it work out, and it ended up working out, and I couldn't be happier. But at the end of the day, it will all work out for you, and I truly believe that. And even once you get into a sorority, let's say you thought, okay, I'm gonna love this house, and for some reason it just wasn't working out, you can always drop out of the house and you can rush the next year, only if you don't initiate. So if you get initiated into the sorority, then you can never rush again or never be affiliated with another Greek organization that is like sorority. I think you can do like other Greek organizations, but I don't really know how it works. I just know that like you can't re-rush if you've been initiated into a sorority. That's something to think about, but don't ever feel like you're stuck or you chose the wrong thing, because you can always talk to people and they can help you no matter what it is. You can talk to people and I promise they can help you. I am going to end the video off here, but I really hope that it helped you, and I would love to do more videos like this, question and answer videos about recruitment, the things that I wore for recruitment, because I have pictures and stuff of all of that. Really anything. I like talking about recruitment. I think it's very, very interesting and an interesting process. So comment down below any of those things that you would like to see. But I hope that if you did enjoy this video that you would of course subscribe, because that would mean a lot to me, and like and comment down below. Also, I hope that wherever you are, whether it is morning, afternoon, or night, that you have or had an amazing day. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!